Hey there, everyone. Welcome back to Egret. I can never say my name on my channel. Does anyone else have this problem where they have a channel they've created? They've picked a somewhat arbitrary name and then they can't pronounce it. Our marketing department sort of let us down on our name choice back in the early aughts, so please forgive us. Anyway, we are back, and what you're looking at here is a project from a couple weeks ago. This is cloning trees and shrubs from existing trees you have around your yard. Who wants to keep paying for things? So my thought process is I'm going to clone these so that I can create more content for the yard, as well as maybe content for YouTube for things that are interesting. So this is just a little bit of an update. I took you through the process of cutting and selecting and what you need to do to monitor, but select your cuttings and such. So this is just an update on the first week. So this is 1 week. I haven't taken it out. I have aired out the cuttings. And how do you air out the cuttings? It's a pretty easy process, really. This is mostly just gathered up and bunched. I have a little bit of a weight on it so that just that the air doesn't escape. And you can see, you can't really see in here clearly. It's because all the moisture inside of here is kept inside of this bag, and the humidity level is really high in here. So the plant stays in good shape. Every day or so, I just come and basically open this up and get some fresh air in. But today we're actually going to take it out. So that's all we do every day. Just let air in, make sure the moisture level is okay. But now we're going to take a look at these actual plants and see how they're doing, if everything is succeeding or failing. I haven't taken them out, so I'm sort of interested. So let's get to it. Okay, so the bag is removed. There we are. We can see all of these bad boys. I'm not going to take these sticks out because I don't want to mess with things. First impressions on things here. Everything's looking pretty good. There's a little bit of this is dead. I mean, I guess I can see where this one hasn't been doing well because it's got some dead leaves on top here where it didn't take. This looks like it's not doing well at all. Down here we have the burning bush, which is doing pretty good. These are some of the bridal wreath spireas, which are doing pretty good. Some of the Japanese maples look like they're doing pretty good. Viburnum here doesn't look like it's doing as good. The variegated dogwood is doing pretty good. You can see some of this yucky growth on here. This is going to be a byproduct. We might lose some of these things, but I just want to stay on top of those as I keep on monitoring these over the next couple of days or the next couple of weeks. I'm just going to be sure there's no mold or things growing, because that can happen when you have cuttings. But everything else seems pretty good. I mean, the Weigela here is doing great. In behind there we have some hascaps, which are doing pretty good. And then at the end here we have, what are those? I can't even remember anymore. It wasn't like I took that many cuttings, but I think that is the 9-bark. I'm not quite sure, but either way, it's looking like it's pretty good. So this is basically a week's worth of growth on, I shouldn't say growth, but a week's worth of sitting and adjusting. We've only given it that rooting compound to start things out, so it's not like it's had a lot of nutrients. I haven't had to water since I originally put this in here, so that's pretty good. Take this, throw that away. So that's pretty good, and yeah, it looks pretty good overall. I'm quite happy with how things have turned out so far. Not too much gross stuff, or the moisture level has been good. I've remembered to come and check it every day, which for me is an important part. So things seem like they're on the up and up. So we're just going to cover this back over, put it back into the spot. And once again, if you don't remember, what the lighting should be, you want a lot of light, but you don't want any direct sunlight. So I have it inside of our bunkie or our tiny house, on a north facing window that doesn't get any sun at all, especially this time of year with the leaves out. So it does get enough sun that things seem like they're doing well. So I'm just going to cover this over and put it back in a spot and call that part a day. That's really it. You saw what I just did there. I put a bag on top, make sure it has some elevation so it's not sitting on top of it, and I'm going to put this back. It's basically ready to go. Okay, and the other thing I want to talk about today is just another one of our previous projects. It's our tomatoes, how they're doing. If you remember, if you watched the video, they were really small. I also got a couple of tomatoes from my mother, which were much bigger when I put them in than the tomatoes I put in. But yeah, I just want to talk about what the findings have been so far with these tomatoes and how everything is making out. Okay, so the tomatoes here, you can see they are really healthy, they're really green. The soil and the augmentation that we've done in these garden beds over the season has obviously made a really big difference. I've never seen tomato. These look really good, so I'm quite happy with the product so far. They were really, really small tomatoes. If you remember when we put them in, Jet Star, a couple of more of the Beefeater style of tomatoes. So they've all been doing really well. There's a lot of vigorous growth, and lately the watering has been almost too easy because it's been basically raining pretty hard every 2 or 3 days. So we're getting some good sun and high humidity and enough moisture that we don't have to do too much besides give it some extra nutrients to make sure things are progressing. Some flowers on here, but not much in the way of fruit on these particular tomatoes yet. Okay, and this is our next group of tomatoes. It's once again doing very well. It's starting to go to flower finally, so we should start having some fruit set very soon. It's very green, very growing. We still have a good 2 months worth of the growing season left, so I'm not too worried about it producing tomatoes. I am quite happy with the growth though, because I had some tomatoes in this bed last year and it did very poorly, so looks great. And last but not least, you probably can't see from all the way back there, but you can see a bunch of the garden in front of you, can't you? It's more tomatoes. I think these are Jet Stars, I'm not even sure. And once again, it is a little bit of the same situation. The flowers and things are starting to happen. It's got enough good growth on it. I don't expect there's going to be too much problems producing some very healthy tomatoes. So things are looking great. So anyway, that's really it for this sort of update. I appreciate people coming in and seeing things, seeing what the status of the garden is, because it's something that when winter hits, I've got a hard time sometimes conceptualizing things and updates. So it's good for me to be able to see, hey, this is the status. Look how small these tomatoes were, but look how big they got. So this is just a little bit of a motivation thing for me. But it's also good to give people updates. Sometimes I do things, they don't work out, such as the mushrooms video. I sort of lost track of watering and things never really produced. But these tomatoes are doing great, so I want to be able to show people that that's what happens when you keep on pressing things forward and making things like the soil better and planting things at an appropriate time and watering and giving fertilizer. So it's all just part of this wonderful off-grid food forest and garden and thing that we got going on here. The animals and the insects all love it. We love it. Vegetables seem like they're thriving. The beds are really doing well. I do need to put on my blue cup hat trap because I have a couple of deer flies around me, but thanks for sticking around, everyone. I really appreciate it.